Good evening and welcome to Speaker Club's Saturday night number 92. It's been a long journey from 23rd May 2020 when we began this club, and we initiated with a simple idea: connecting with people while the world was completely locked up and lost in where we are headed to. That's where we began this club on 23rd May 2020. So it's been a good long journey of almost 2 years that we have come up until now. And what we do over here is basically Speak Up Club is a platform where we talk perspectives. It's not a platform for public speaking. It's not a platform which is limited to language or anything that you're expressing. The idea about Speak Up Club is about different perspectives that we can all benefit from, while each one of us over here brings in their experience, their flavor, their thought process onto the table. And that is where we as a collective unit grow and become wiser in our knowledge and what all we can do. Because someone somewhere sitting in London could have a different perspective about how to operate or deal with a situation, while you are sitting in Durgapur or Delhi or Hyderabad or Mysore, wherever we are. Given the limited exposure that we have had, not that it's bad or less wiser, but a different perspective from a different angle, a different dimension altogether can surely help each one of us go one step ahead than what we have been living with. So today's session, let's get going with today's session. Today's session is about lasting impact. It's about communication mastery, wherein how we as individuals can leave an impression wherever we are. So whether you are in your job, in your workspace, standing up on a stage, talking to individuals or just a group of people or one-to-one or strangers or anyone for that matter, each one of us aspires this one simple thing, wherein we wish to leave a mark even when we are not around. Every time we speak, every time we communicate, the idea is we think the power of communication is while what we are speaking or while we're delivering something. But the real power of communication lies in the impact of how that communication lasts well beyond your presence. We talk about Swami Vivekananda. He made this wonderful statement, just one statement which gave a standing applaud for him for over 10 minutes, which was never seen in the entire history of US Assembly, where US Parliament, where when he said, "Brothers and sisters of America," that was a moment which changed the entire landscape of how he was perceived by the United States and how the people looked at him. So look at the power that each one of us have with the simple power of communication and the impact that we leave while we are in every instance, whether you're with your spouse, with your kid, with a stranger, any instance, in any setup that we're talking of, look at how we have a power to make a difference. Now, I would like to begin with asking you one simple question. How many of you all remember someone after certain communication has got over the formal process of communication? How often have you been inspired or have been thinking about something which was told by someone? If you have an answer of someone in your mind that this conversation was something which kept me thinking, made an impact on me even after the conversation was over, I would like you to share any instance like that. It could be someone like a person, or it could be an instance where you have heard someone speak something on a TV or any speech or any instance, preferably your own personal experience wherein you have had the interaction. If that is there, even better. If not, whatever you feel you'd like to share. Yes, who would like to go up? Have you been inspired? Have you been moved? Motion, go ahead. First thing I want to ask you, why are you hesitating?
No, sir. I am not hesitating, sir.
Go ahead.
So, at first, sir, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity. So as I remembered, just after the lockdown is happening, after past 1 week of lockdown, I get an opportunity to talk with one of my college friend. and we are discussing with our past experiences and all these things. Thereafter, after a long conversation, we get an opportunity to share our experiences and the present scenario, present think what is going with our families members and everything. That time we also converse our personal growth, and that time he said me, what's your salary expect, what you get the salary, what's your designation, and all those things. At that time, as I remembered, I am not be able to speak English even a 2 to 3 sentence. Then he said me, I promoted in as a senior manager, and all these things. I have a bungalow, I have that blah blah different things. That time I realized that what I have, we are passing in the same batch, we are in the same branch, and all these things. And unfortunately, that time he also called me on video call, and I saw all these things, and I am really very feel jealous what I have done in my past 10 years. I am not in comparison to him, and he have all these things, and I am just working as a senior officer, and he is working as a senior manager, and we are starting the career with the same functions. So where I am stuck, that time he asked me, Mohsin, have you have you invested in even a single rupees for your growth after passing out your B.Tech? He said, no, I'm just doing my job and I'm working in my organization. So what's the need of the further development or further education, and why should I invest? That time he told me, it's the biggest mistake of your life. You need to invest for your personal growth, and that is the biggest investment for your life. In our life, we think and we realized and we observed that if I invest in share market, we get 100% return back. In mutual fund, we get 30% return back or 50% return, anything it may be. But if you invest in yourself, in self development, you cannot imagine what you will return back.
Interesting. Interesting.
That day I realized, and really I ended crying after cut the call. And I am not be able to express too much what I have felt at that time. Thereafter, thereafter he suggested me some courses, and I joined. And thereafter, I also reading some books and all those things. And now I am little bit able to speak in front of you. So that's a very real story of my life. Thank you, sir.
Mohsin, speak in front of you, and you are making an impact already. You are a wonderful storyteller, and I think that story of yours, that instance of yours, does offer an interesting lesson and leaves an impact for everyone in this crowd. I believe, looking at the reactions, I'm sure each one of them is impacted with the story that you have shared. Thank you for sharing that, Mohsin. Anyone else? Madhu, I would want you to respond on an instance where someone left an impact on you. Keep it crisp.
Yeah. Actually, it's been, I think, 2009, I guess. There is a one person where I used to work on one organization. It's a little bit entertainment field, and he's a very genius. He's wantedly he dropped out with maybe IIT Kharagpur or somewhere, because for his career he wanted to move some other side. He's a very good writer, script writer. I had me and unfortunately me and him worked on one project together. So from then a lot of perspectives from my side changed after I met him. one incident in 2011, one thing. I am a person always I'll take responsibility and I'll try to do my best. I mean, at least my point of view. So there is some incident happened. Someone who is not related to something, and he coming to our cabin where we both sit and working, and he's not responsible to ask me or else at least the task. Like, over enthusiasm or over taking, something, he did. That time, that time I'm not that much mature. So again, I said, no, who are you to tell me? I'm doing my job, and why are you, shouting like that? Kind of something reply given. Very honestly, I'm telling. That's all happened, but that prompts, right? I mean, that's keep on hunting. When me and that person went to go down downside, and we had a small. Generally, evenings we have a small talk, and we'll have some walk, at least to 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll have some snacks or tea, and we'll come back. That time again, that topic, myself in front of him again, I thought, no, why this fellow does not happen, and something I'm repeating. Then only one word he mentioned that you, whenever he shouted or something, you also replied in the same way, balanced. Whatever you are, so something is there, in it, that is also gone. That means the way you respond changes. Luckily, no one is there. But if someone else seen that, you are also same thing, like the way you responded. So I mean, my intention is, whenever you respond to others, see the persons, and don't overreact or same thing. Hey, completely is wrong. But even though, don't act such a way so that it will your impression also will gone in front of everyone. That even now I remember, if anytime something I'm trying to shout on someone, that prompts me. Even today also. So I mean, many things still I'm learning from him, and he's a very good friend of mine even till today. So that's a great experience from him.
Thank you, Madhu. I think that's a wonderful point. Some words, some instances, some stories stick to us so hard, and they help us navigate through something somewhere in the future altogether. That's the power of impact that we all can have. Anyone else would like to share one more instance, where a quick short instance where some incident by someone or someone said something to you and it left an impact on you? Mohan, go ahead.
Hi, sir. Very good evening to all. Sir, actually, in my life, actually, if I have to take few names, there are like multiple people who motivated me to choose this path and to become a good speaker, to better speaker, I would say. So actually, if I have to take one single name, that would be Mr. Muhammad Abdullah. Actually, when I was in Vizag 5 years back, I joined a coaching institute for my CAT preparation for my MBA. So there I met this guy. So he is the founder of actually one institute called Kandura, which is a part of Career Launcher. So this institute trains students for their CAT preparations, IELTS, TOEFL, and all. So this guy, actually, when I joined this institute, I was very hesitant. I did not have that confidence to pursue MBA first of all. So very first day, actually, he started with some kind of motivating the students. So actually, he used one line which actually struck me, and that really motivated to move forward. It was like he said, "Remember, students, there are only few people, like minority of people are there. Like majority of people here, they are here to faith, but only minority of people, they come here and they pursue their dreams, and they are here to get succeed." So that is one thing that half an hour or 45 minutes stretch of that speech actually motivated, and that always had a great impact in my life, I would say. And I have a few more inspirations when it comes to the public speakers.
Mohan, I'll come back to that, because as we progress in the session, I would request each one of y'all, each one of y'all to reflect on the pointers that I'm going to share in the next 20 to 25 minutes. I would want you to reflect on your conversations and how you have a conversation, and also those people who you feel leave an impact and leave their presence felt wherever they go, and wherever and however short or long their conversations are. You would have come across so many people. I want you to reflect through the entire session, every time, every pointer which I'm sharing. Think of how Is this the reason that this person can make a presence felt wherever he goes? So I'll be sharing 6 pointers. So before I get on to sharing those pointers, why we're doing this session per se specifically is that communication to a large extent is an art. I've always mentioned that beyond the rules of the game, which is the language, the science, the whatever rules are there of communication, beyond that, communication is largely a work of art. You'd see one simple message and there are 100 ways to deliver that message. You see one love story and you have, I believe on a yearly basis, you have more than thousands of movies delivering a love story. And each one of it has its own impact, has its own style. Some become blockbusters and some bitterly fail. And that's where I say communication is an art. The problem is most of us, and each one of us is an artist. The problem is some of us are modern artists. Only we know what we want to communicate, while it doesn't land well or it doesn't leave an impact on the people whom we are trying to make or have that conversation with. So for that reason, you could be filled with complete knowledge, information of everything that you have, but if it doesn't get through from your mind to the world and leave an impact, it is of no use. Because you could be, I've come across so many talented and knowledgeable people across every industry, and yet I see them failing. I wouldn't say failing, but I would say they are less impactful because of one simple reason. They cannot communicate and create a lasting impact in the conversations and the way they say things. So today's session, over the next 20-25 minutes, what I'm going to do is share with you 6 ideas through which you can start making an impact in every conversation that you have with anyone that you have, whether in your workspace, in your personal space, with your family, with your spouse, or even in any place where it's a strange world. So make sure you're looking at how you reflect on the people that have left an impact on you, and your instances where you were able to or you were not able to make an impact in the conversations. So let's get going with the 6 ideas, which I've simply put it as impact. I.M.P.A.C.T. That's the 6 ideas that we are going to be discussing today. The first and foremost thing to begin with, I. Most often we think that communication is about I. That's the biggest flaw of communication. If the communication is about you and not about the idea or its impact, it's going to fall flat. Because I've seen so many talented people speaking on stage and everyone is in awe of what they're speaking. And after some time, the person who's sitting next to me scratches me and, "Bahut acha bola. लेकिन कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं? लेकिन बोल क्या रहे हैं?" How many of you all have seen Shashi Tharoor? How many of you all are impressed with his ideas, not the language? Ideas are also good if you're able to connect with that language. The point is his area or his domain of expertise. I'm not belittling him. He's exceptionally talented and very wise man. My point I'm trying to share is, now we compare Shashi Tharoor with Sudha Murthy or Sadhguru or any other wise person that you come across. When the idea about communication is not about the idea in itself and more about you, it doesn't serve the purpose. Because the purpose of education, the purpose of communication or leaving an impact is about the idea and how it lands and how it is understood by the receiver. We often end up believing that communication or having the perception or about the idea is people admiring you. We think people will admire you and so your communication is impactful, which is not the case. You could have people admiring you and yet not understand a word that you're speaking, not accomplishing what you want to do and still not serving the purpose. So communication per se, to begin with, is about the idea and the impact. And for that very reason, the I part of the communication has to vaporize, has to move away for your idea and its impact to come to the fore. I'll give you an interesting example. There was a kid who went for an eye test. You see how they do the eye test? Far on the board, you would see A, B, C, D. The person asked, "Can you read that?" The kid said, "No." It was very small. He trickled it down and got the font a little bigger. He asked, "Can you read it?" It was a bigger size. He said, "No." He trickled it furthermore. From here, it went to here. He asked, "Can you read it now?" He said, "No." "I'm sorry, then I think you have lost your eyesight and we'll have to work around something about solving this problem. The kid then replied, "Sir, the problem is not that I can't read that. The problem is I don't know what is ABC. How will I read what you're trying to show me? If I don't understand the language which you're speaking, how will you make an impact on what you're trying to deliver?" If your idea is to see... Pratna ma'am? Okay. So the idea is, look at how and the purpose for which you're communicating. If your purpose, if you move beyond, I know ABC and this is what it should be, to, is he able to see? And for that reason, change the language. Ask if he knows ABCs. When that focus of the communication shifts from you and your talent and your skill set to the idea that you want to communicate and the impact it is going to have, that is where the impact starts to happen. Now imagine any instance from your own experience with your boss, with your spouse, where the communication happened based on the style of the other person and not with the idea or the impact which is required to be done. You look at how many times you talk to kids. When you are in a bad mood, you are talking as a father, while the kid wants the idea to be conveyed in his language. We lose out because of this specific reason, because we are wanting to make an impact in the communication, but we want to speak our language. We want to speak who we are and how we are doing, because the ego is in place there and not the idea or the impact. So that's the first rule of having a lasting impact. Make sure that the I is diluted. You could very well make an impact in a few places. You'd see that a few people are successful in a certain environment. I'm not saying it's not at all or a blanket idea where you cannot or should not do anything. If you are delivering a presentation or talking to someone like a CEO of a tech company, speak that language. Speak that language of technology or use that jargon. But if you know you're talking to a novice, to a customer who doesn't know the ABCs of technology, if you talk to him, RAM 4 8GB, the gigahertz horsepower, this, that, it's going to fall flat. That's what needs to change. Put your idea and the impact to the fore and not yourself. That's the first thing about the lasting impact. Next, anyone has any questions up until now? I'm more than happy to answer, or you can shoot your questions. Anyone? Madhu, go ahead.
So in simple one word, we can say that the content is important than the how you are delivering. It's
not just the content also. The content has to be put in context of the impact that you're trying to make.
I mean, the screenplay, how you are delivering also.
How you're delivering, how, see, I love you is a simple statement, but if you go to YouTube now and type I love you scenes, you would find 1,000 deliveries of the same word I love you and how it is being delivered. You see that it has to be contextualized based on the idea and how you're making it. Sometimes I love you is said to say I'm sorry. Sometimes I love you is told on a Valentine's Day. Sometimes I love you is told to compromise. You look at the difference on how you're using something. So all I'm saying is the idea and what are you trying to make an impact. Get that in place rather than your ego into play or you looking to get admiration for how talented you are. So move that focus. That's what the idea is. Sri Krishna, how to know the audience, like to know how to understand people or audience present. Speak Up Club is a wonderful example. We have had instances where I don't know who Moshin is or what's his background or what context he's going to bring into the picture. Or I don't know who's Akib Javed over here or Harjani. There are different people who have joined in today, but when you have a purpose for a session, when a program has been initiated, you have a purpose. So you would assume that people will come for that purpose. I hope nobody's coming here to see an activity or an entertaining show or a stand-up comedy. If they are there for that, and if I'm giving a lecture like this, that also backfires. So understand, when it's a generic audience, the target has to be that, does it make sense to anyone? That's the beauty of Speak Up Club. We have a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 70-year-old. Can we still resonate with everyone? The story that you say, the thought process that you share, can it connect with everyone? That's what we need to keep attempting to, and there'll still always be a situation where there will be room for improvement. Of someone misunderstanding you, someone putting it out of context or not getting the way you want it to be understood. Question answers, please. Is a way in which you can get people back into the conversations. Because what I've spoken for 5 minutes is what I know and what I think should be spoken. A little part of I is there in that. But when I ask a question answer, Madhu came up with his idea or what challenge he was thinking of, or Sri Krishna came up with his questions. That brings me to the next point. M, merge with the audience. Become the audience. When you become the audience, I'm not just speaking of public speaking, standing on stage and delivering. I'm talking of every context. Even in this group, when you see, I call in Madhu, I call in Uma ma'am, or I call in Mojin. And when I take their name, they are brought into the conversation. Look at why I take the names of people, why I ask questions, why I ask you to tell your stories. That's because I get to know your side of the story and your thinking process. Because of that one reason, you get to understand the pulse of the audience. Many times you prepare your entire content and you get on to delivery or you share with someone something that you're thinking. But the point is, does it relate to the audience? Will it make sense to a 15-year-old? Will it make sense to someone who's from Kolkata? Someone who's from Mysore? Someone who's in a job in the world of entrepreneurship? Someone who's sitting in London and listening to us now? Will it make sense? For that very reason, you have to become the audience. You have to speak the language of the audience. Because today, if I'm a speaker, I'm going to schools and speaking to kids. I'm going to corporates, I'm speaking to employees, I'm speaking to entrepreneurs. I'm speaking to students, I'm speaking in NGOs. The same content, if I were to deliver this program right now, if I'm delivering here, if you ask me to deliver the same program to kids, the entire delivery will change. The idea will remain. But the way I'll be delivering the program, the content, the stories, the ideas through which I'm going to pursue it in the point will change. And that's the most important thing, that you got to understand the pulse of the audience for you to make it impactful. I want to ask you all one thing, because we're not just talking of public speaking. Look at your chats on WhatsApp or your mails or your conversations that you have with people. If I take off the other person and put someone else in that place, will your conversation still look the same, except for the name? So if I'm chatting with Uma ma'am as an example, if I take off and replace Uma ma'am's number with someone else's, will the other person still feel that I'm talking to him only? If the answer is yes, that you, while you're with your conversations, with your interactions, if you can replace the other person with the same thing that you're saying, can connect with someone else also, there's a flaw in your communication. Because outrightly, with your conversations, with your communication, you are saying to whomsoever it may concern, and you're talking to people. That's a perfect recipe for disaster in communication. When we have a generic tone, generic language, generic idea that we're sharing with anyone and everyone without the context or the person or changes based on what you are or whom you're talking to, your idea is very blank. It won't leave an impact, because I could be talking to Uma ma'am, and if the same content, if I'm speaking to Rashmi or Mohan or Motion also, it means that I'm not talking to Uma ma'am. I'm talking to whosoever wants to listen. How do you make an impact with that? I'm not saying you being inspired. There are a lot of videos, a lot of motivational talks that you will be listening and you feel inspired. But the point is, I'm talking of deeper level one-on-one conversations and connects, where once you move away, that is also a form of impacting. I'm not saying no, but I'm saying where your presence is there, how are you personalizing the conversations, the communication with people, taking in name, putting the entire idea on the context. The biggest challenge why we don't do is we are lost in the I. You're lost in your thought process of what do you want to say. And so most often, have you seen our behavior pattern? When someone is speaking, you're thinking of what am I going to say next. That's a very reason why people forget people's name. Because that's the first thing. Hi, I'm Rahul Jain. While someone is saying that to you, you are already thinking of what will I be saying. And so you miss out on the names of people. How many times have you had a need? What was your name again? The reason is because we are lost in our world of communication. We are lost in what is it that I want to say. You're not making an attempt to listen to someone so that what comes from there becomes an input for what you want to say. That's the power where you can leave an impact. That's where you can leave an impact by personalizing the conversation. Look at how many instances in the past Speak Up Club sessions where I've taken the names of people, looking at what is happening. Even while I'm delivering, I'm looking at, okay, Rashmi, acha chal raha hai. The power of leaving an impact is by personalizing and observing and listening to what is happening around. That's where you get your inputs from. That's where you leave an impact. Today, after 2 hours also, Rashmi will be thinking, Rahul saw me like this. And he called my name. That is the power that we have. When we teleport ourselves, not who I am, and moving outside this world, you have an opportunity to listen to the cues that you're getting, and that is where it becomes personalized. So speak the language of the receiver. That is where you can make an impact. I've seen so many people who are so good at English. I don't deny the fact that their English is not good. But the fact that if you're speaking to young kids, if you're speaking to someone who's not that fluent in English, prefer the native language. Talk in whatever language you're comfortable with, and you know that this is a person that will listen and understand. I've had so many times now that I've been in this world of speaking in English. Sometimes when I call and talk to my friends in English, तू हो गया, तू बहुत बड़ा हो गया, पता है मेरे को, तू रहने दे, इंग्लिश तू वहां के लिए रख, तू इधर आ पहले, తెలుగులో మాట్లాడదాం రా, నువ్వు ఇక్కడ రా ఫస్ట్, తర్వాత మాట్లాడదాం, ఈ లెక్చర్ల తర్వాత దిద్దుగా ఇంగ్లీష్ లో తర్వాత మాట్లాడదాం, నువ్వు రా. Automatically, when the wording changes to something which is only between the two of us, you leave an impact. It could be any language. The point is you have to know the language of the receiver, the tone of the receiver, for you to leave that impact on them. So the tip over here is, like I've already mentioned in the previous sessions, take the name. Akanksha, stop staring at the screen, focus on the session. While you're busy somewhere else, you won't learn from the session. You will just get the attendance marks for the benefit and you will not let me go ahead. But still, focus on the session. That's where by taking the name of people, that's the sweetest thing that people can want to listen, unless it's coming from a school teacher and you're in the classroom. That's where it is horror. Otherwise, it's the sweetest thing that you can listen to when you're listening to your name. Use that wonderful power that you have got to speak someone's name and get them connected in the conversations. The second thing that you can do is use the context of the person who's listening. So if I were to explain Dr. Rashmi something today, I would very well use something in the context of yoga or meditation and use that analogy to explain something to Rashmi. Will it not connect deeper with Rashmi if I'm using that? Or if I were to convince Akanksha about something, I would use example of how pathetic or bad exams are in our lives, how bad the education system is, and she'll be with me, in sync with me in whatever I'm doing. Or Madhu or Mohan or whatever it is, look at, this is called potent imaging. What we do is, while we are conversing with someone, find what is their sweet spot. Someone could be into gardening, someone could be into riding, someone could be into swimming, someone could be into books, travel, anything. Use that in your conversations to interact. And suddenly you would see that the other person is all, he knows me. He speaks about what I like. And that makes a mark. And that leaves an impact where every conversation will be something that people will really look up to for having with you, because you put them at the center. From I as the first point, where I was talking of idea and impact, bring in and merge the audience to your message. When you merge that audience into your message, you have a higher and deeper opportunity to leave an impact. Because every time if someone talks to me and they connect it with living life or movies or something like pizza or something like that, where I have an inclination towards it, there's a far higher likelihood that I'm going to remember. Now everyone is thinking, who made me think like this? Who talks to me in my language? And you have that one person's image in your mind. That's because that person speaks your language. No, I'm not a mind reader, don't worry. All I'm saying is, while you're doing things, remember how you have been impacted by someone using your language. You have a superpower to use the same with others. Start speaking the language to leave an impact on people. Listeners' language. Use that and your impact will be much, much more deeper. Any questions for this? I would request everyone to please switch on your videos. I'm already tired with only Akanksha and a few others staring at me. Thank you, Harjani. Where are you joining us from?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from Raipur, Chhattisgarh.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you're liking the session and you're getting some inputs from it. You're looking
Yes,
forward to listening to your ideas too. So any questions up until now?
No, it's going wonderful. I'm making the notes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And
Yeah,
let's get going with the third point. Thank you, Shanu, for switching on the video. And for others who are not able to switch on for their own reasons or the network challenges, I'm with them. Let's get going with the third point that I want to share. Patterns. Impact. I.M.P. Patterns. Every time you talk to someone, if I were to give you 5 words right now, and if you were to create a story from those 5 words, what will that story be? I want you to just imagine that story for now. Just 5 sentences with this 5 words. Bicycle, desperate, red, warning, luck. I want you to imagine a story with all these words. Bicycle, desperate, red, warning, and luck. Pause. I don't want you to share the story, but I want you to ask, if I were to ask your best friend What story would you have created with these 5 words? Can they tell that? Not exactly the same story, but they can broadly tell what will be the kind of story that you would have created. Yes, no? Kind of, Akanksha. Just don't try to prove me wrong for the sake of it. The reason why I ask that is because when we come up with situations and different instances in our life, the pattern is the way we think. We all operate in patterns. So when people come to me with a question, they already know what I'm going to respond with. While you are telling or sharing a problem, or you're sharing something with someone, you already know what the response is going to come up. There's an idea that we already discussed in the past. It's called, what's the narrative? What is the narrative that you are living with? Because every instance that you face, every instance that you come across with different variables here and there, you are thinking in a certain pattern. The challenge is others can see that pattern. The beauty is you can recreate this pattern with consistency and help people know what are you trying to project. Even before you speak a word, the reason why you go to the people for your advice, the people whomso you go for advice, you know the narrative that they are going to share. You know the story that they're going to share from the situation that you're going to tell them. You go to them because you know the narrative that they're going to play. Anyone who comes to me knows how I will, the worst of situations, I will be able to convert that and tell you or find a hope in that situation. That's my narrative. I want you to ask, what's your narrative? Because to leave a mark, to leave an impact on people, it's not about what you're going to say. It's a perception that you're creating even before you're saying something. And I'm not referring to the first time. I'm talking of a pattern after you have had conversations and interactions with people. The 2 things that I want you to think on this idea, the patterns is, 1, what is the pattern that you have created? What's your narrative that you have left the world and the people around with? Because that, before anything, that is what people will play in their mind, that if I go and tell or interact with this person, this is what is going to come up. So be in charge of what's your narrative. And the second thing is, don't fall trap to the narrative that you have fixed in your mind. How often has it been that you, while interacting with someone, already have a thought process that this person is going to react in this way? He's going to tell or express in certain pattern. Because of past experience, I don't deny that. But more often than not, people change, context change, situations change. And when you fixate people or limit them into a pattern of what they were in the past, you're giving a lesser opportunity for a different now. So for all those young ones over here thinking about your parents, if I get bad marks, if I don't do well, and if I go and tell my father or mother that I've done this, you already know what's coming up next. On the contrary, look at the pattern that you are following. So I hope you get this idea where we're talking of the power of impacting someone doesn't lie with only the words that you're going to use. It's also going to be about the pattern that you've created for yourself in your mind and how you're perceiving others and their patterns. That's the superpower that you have when it comes to communicating or leaving an impact even before you speak. That's about the P. Let's move on. Any questions before I move on to the next one? I know it's too scary already. Let's move on to the next one. After I.M.P., the word that comes is A, and A for acting in sync with your words. How many times have you seen a dichotomy between the way you are thinking and what you're doing? And when that difference is there between what you're thinking and what you're doing, or what you're saying and what you're doing, it is far, far higher likelihood for you to not make an impact. Because people trust not what they see. Sorry, people trust not what they hear or the promises that someone has made. People trust on what has been delivered and what they see in front of them. So communicating, again, not limited to the words, but to the actions, and that is what creates the impact. Can you create a lasting impact even without speaking? I've seen so many talented people not speaking a word and still leaving an impact. Ask yourself if you have come across any instance or any situations where you weren't lectured or you weren't told that this is what is to be done, but you just saw it. I've come across so many instances where my mentors or my parents, my family, or someone who I look up to and have seen them stand up and do things. And that has inspired me more than any of the lectures given by anyone. So for you to leave an impact, remember, follow up with action. Have your actions in sync with what you are communicating or how you're communicating. And there lies a superpower in this sync. If there's no sync in this, there's no worse thing than that. Because people can see the two-sided story, the two-faced you from what you say and what you do. So always remember, even if it's 10% saying and 90% doing, it might take a little longer for people to observe you and get the lesson. But don't be a person who's 90% saying and 10% doing. The balance is where you got to deliver and act in sync with whatever you're saying. That's the superpower to leaving a lasting impact. If you have anyone would like to share any instance of your boss, of your colleague, of your family member, where you weren't lectured exactly about what is to be done, but you were shown that this is how it is to be done. Anyone would like to share any instance? Shanu,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. Today I have a farewell party in my school. So there are 2 or 3 students in 10th or 12th standard. They talk very less, but they study very well. They prove themselves without, in class they are not saying a word and not creating any noise and all these things, but they work, they do by their actions. It leaves an impact, and today they get the title and मतलब उनको जो कुछ उनको जो टाइटल्स मिले थे ना, उसमें भी यही चीज थी.
Interesting. A wonderful instance where we have a habit to speak more and do less. And if you truly want to impact or leave an impact, do more, and that will speak for itself. Rabia.
Yeah, the same thing goes with me too, with my students. Though they do not express much about it in the class because they would be silent or something with the distance as what we maintained with. But the moment we started off with the online classes and all, they became close to me, and you won't believe, they do not say much, but the emojis through which they express their expressions make me understand what they feel about me. So that is how, without saying, they express their feelings. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you. There you go for you. But I still believe you, even if you say I may not believe you. Thank you for that. I think that's a wonderful story. Anyone would like to share any experience from their professional space or their family or their environment, apart from the 2 teachers that we have heard from, where you have seen the impact being created without speaking?
Yes, Rahul,
Yes,
I would like
Pratna,
to
go
take
ahead.
this. Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity. So when I was working at Glendale, so I always remember Anjum Babu Khan. I got an opportunity to directly work with her. I joined as a coordinator, just primary coordinator, and I had got a chance to work with the director of the school. And she was the one like holding my hand and uplifting me step by step. And when she was pushing me for all the challenges, I used to face a lot of challenges, and I used to show my frustration in front of her. So this is not to be done. I used to get that resistance from the people, and I was very naive and very new to this leadership roles. The leadership role wasn't given to me, but I was uplifted step by step, and that was a very tough journey. I used to go in front of her and I used to show frustration, but never she told me anything, never she advised me, never she gave any suggestions. Very quietly, calmly, in a very graceful manner, she used to just look at me, and then later on she used to provide an opportunity wherein she used to handle those situations. And by observing her, I learned a lot. And today, if at all I'm doing, every moment I think about her, how she used to deal with the situations. And I feel that if she would have given me the lectures every day, I wouldn't have learned so much. Other than that, every time she took everything, all frustration I used to show in front of her, and she used to smilingly, she used to look at me. Never she told anything or any free advice she didn't give me. And I used to feel that how ruthless she is. Even though I am showing frustration, she's not giving me any suggestion or any advice or nothing. But definitely she has shown me those opportunities and those situations, how beautifully those situations can be handled. It's just because of that experience I'm able to sail through smoothly. And people are wondering, because you don't have to be a very tough master or any tough leader kind of thing. Being humble, maintaining humility, you can be successful. That's what I learned from her.
Wonderful, wonderful, Ratnam. I think that's a wonderful story, and I think that's how actually, to a large extent, parenting should work. When I've seen across a lot of parents, when it comes to lecturing and the current generation, the millennials that we have, when we talk of lecturing them, it's going to backfire. It's going to surely backfire on us and how we are going to deal with them. And that's a wonderful wonderful way how you can leave an impact. Stand up and deliver on what is acceptable. That's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Pratnam, for sharing that. I saw Akwib Javed raising his hand. After that, Madhu?
Yes, Rahul.
Go ahead.
So we were talking about making an impact, and some of our teachers told about the student connect online, and she was talking about parenting. I feel that it is your sheer consistency, the way you work. And for me, it happened when I was working for Vedanta Limited, close to 5 years. And when I was about to leave, last one and a half year, things were very much aligned, and I knew all in and out of the organization. But the consistency and the gut feeling which I've got by then, I was able to move things. So normally, if you go into any organization, there is an approval matrix, there is a protocol that people follow. But when things used to come to me, I would be like, this is how it has to be done. Do you still want any approval? No, it's not required, since you are saying it's done. So it goes to the last corner. And when I left, my replacement came. He was like, bro, how you are handling things are way hectic here. People don't understand. They ask a lot of approvals and all. So I believe that it's pure sheer consistency with your performance. If you keep performing, if you keep showing people that you are capable of this much, impact comes. I mean, you don't have to, properly speak that I'm very impactful, I'm doing all this and that. It's not required. People see how you work, people look at it, and impacts get created by its own. So that is one
wonderful perspective there, Akwib. Thank you for sharing that. Madhu, and thank you for sharing that story, because that's what adds the value to what you have done and how it leaves an impact. Thank you for sharing that story. Madhu?
Earlier, I was one team lead initially first I have taken the trail in one of the MNC. I don't know exactly how to deal with that people and that thing, but I know just I can have a plan and we can do like that, and I can mingle with the people. And I noticed one person, maybe we're around 20 people, and I wanted to I share that no, this is a task we have, you share this, and I'm taking little portion because I have to manage all these things. But once I completed, whoever having more or anything changes, I'll share from you and all those things. And I shared everything planned, we'll do like this and all. Some people, yeah, super now, oh super, right, we'll do like this and everything, okay, we'll do from tomorrow or this, like this will be. Some people are very quiet. There is one person I always admire. He's very quick, very quiet, and he's not asking anything. And just looking at me like that. I don't know whether he's not willing to take my leadership, or he's not accepting me, or my idea is bad. With only his look, my mind saying lot of questions. Then I also observed him, entire 5-10 minutes. Then he asked only one question. To be very frank, whatever I'm explaining to them to plan all those things, I don't have any answer for that his question, because whenever I explained, he went ahead, and while we are working that whatever he's asked, that is main requirement thing, and that is not ready. Then he asked, okay, how about that, all those things. Then I said, yeah, it's right, correct, we need to get that first right. And then I felt like people will be like very quiet, but their actions will tell. And whenever I give a task, okay, these 20 tickets yours, and everyone say we'll do like that, maybe they may take 2-3 days. This fellow will work only 10 or 20 minutes, we'll complete 1 or 2, and he'll go for like a break, and he'll come back. I don't know when he's doing it. So we cannot judge by yeah, that's my wonderful experience.
Indeed, people are of different kinds, and the way you leave an impact, the way you deliver on the impact has its own way of doing it. But like we are talking about here, however you're doing it, make sure there's a sync between what you say and how you act. With that, let's quickly move on to the last 2 points that we have for today, which is I.M.P.A.C.T. C for conviction, C for compassion, C for confidence. Every time you speak, there's a difference in the way it is perceived. If I were to give you a few examples, if I say, does that make sense to you? Or alternatively, I say, what are your thoughts on this? I say, maybe we should try this. Or I say, let's try this. I think we should, or say, I believe this would work. Or if I say, I'm sorry, can I have a minute of yours? Or I say, when you have a minute, let me know, I have something important to discuss. Look at the perception of how you're telling the same message, of how your confidence speaks in the choice of words that you have and how you are delivering them to the world, of how much respect you have for yourself and the conviction that you have in the idea and how you're delivering it. When you say, does that make sense? You yourself have a question whether that makes sense or not. When you say, I'm sorry, can I have a minute? You yourself have a doubt whether this is worthy of taking a minute from someone. Look at the conviction that you have in the way you say things. You could very well have a doubt. You could very well have a question whether this makes sense or not. But when you say it to the world, say it with conviction as though you own that and you believe in it, even if it's required to fake it until you make it. I've seen so many people who have literally no content, no knowledge, no idea, but take it up like that purely with the presence and the conviction in which they speak. That's the power of leaving an impact. I'm not saying don't have content. I'm saying with the content that you have and still those little doubts which you have, the lingering thoughts that you have in your mind about yourself, if you can just improve on the conviction in which you can speak, that makes a difference. That leaves an impact, because that is where you're building your credibility in the minds of the receiver. So make sure you are in control of the words that you use, the tonality that you have, and the way you're speaking for you to make an impact. Whatever you're speaking, have you ever seen how a kid speaks when he wants something? There's a difference over here. Don't be bossy or overconfident where it comes across to other that you're trying to push over. That's where I said the third C over here was compassion. Respecting others' feelings, respecting others' space, and keeping their emotion also into what you are saying and how you're saying it. When you put that in context, this will be impactful. So make sure while you're communicating, communicate with an impact, with the conviction and confidence of whatever you're speaking. Speak little, but speak with confidence, with the conviction that is required. So focus on how you believe in yourself, because the challenge is not about what you're speaking, because what you're speaking is a result of how you think of yourself. Change that pattern of how much respect and how much knowledgeable or how you view yourself. Your self-esteem is what drives the change in the conviction. Today, if I'm going on stages and speaking, it's not because I'm more knowledgeable than people. I'm far, far lesser. There are times where I am bombarded with the kind of knowledge and insights and information that people have when compared to who's sitting in front of me and I'm standing in front of them and delivering. The only reason why I'm able to speak up and stand there on that stage and deliver or talk to someone, for that matter, these 92 sessions of Speak Up Club, I've been able to only talk, not because I'm that more knowledgeable person, but because of the idea that with whatever I know I have, I can speak with conviction. You could have a difference of opinion, but sometimes you'll think, itna strongly bol raha hai to main hi galat hongi. Aata hai. I know it's normal, but just that with the way I speak it out, with the way I put it across, you feel, मेरा नाम रश्मि है या नहीं है, या फिर मुझे वो भी पता नहीं है. Happens. That's how it is, because that's the impact. Look at, I'm not just talking of me, I'm just talking of any instance where you have seen a little kid. Look at how beautifully kids lie. नहीं मैंने तो किया ही नहीं, मैंने तो perfect exam जबरदस्त दे के आया हूं आज. Look at the results. At least he saved with that confidence and conviction until those results come up. Doesn't it leave an impact? So next time when you're speaking in any context, look at however you're thinking or whatever knowledge you have about the subject, speak with conviction. That is a superpower. Even without, I'm not saying work without content, but even without content, this conviction sells. It leaves an impact. And finally, that brings me to the last point. After that, I'll leave it for question answers and anything that you all would like to share. The last is I.M.P.A.C.T. T, not the T, but trigger the emotion. You're all humans. And as humans, one of the things that connects and makes us different from many other beings is the power of emotions. The reason why you have been inspired or you have been connected, for whoso shared those stories about Motion sharing about police officer, Madhu sharing about the words that someone shared, Mohan sharing about that one line that someone shared to him. The reason is that it was not just shared as only a few here are to succeed. It was shared as a story. It was shared with emotions. It was shared with the power that came behind what was said. And that is the power to instigate emotion in the receiver. When you are in charge of or powerful to instigate the emotion in the receiver, that has a superpower to get deeper into individuals. If you look at and recollect any of your finest memories, it will be all about those spaces where you were moved emotionally. You could very well forget the physical torture or physical pains that you would have experienced in some time in the past. But wherever you have been moved or touched emotionally, it's something that is going to stay for far, far longer than anything else. If you look at your favorite ad as an example, which is your favorite ad? It will not be about, the ad will not be about the product or technical specifications or that details or the features of that product. The ad will be about a story, will be about how you are connecting or you're being brought into that story. When you said, when Surf Excel said, I can hear an echo, I'm sorry. When Surf Excel said, Daag achhe hain, they stirred an emotion in every kid and in every mother to let their kid be, let him enjoy that. They didn't tell it has so many granules, it has this chemical, it has this combination which will rub and clear all the dirt. What sold was Daag achhe hain. Look at your conversations and how often is it that you're able to bring in or stir an emotion in the listener and leave that mark in that person. Because that's where your conversations and the impact can last longer. Today, this ad might have been 10 years or 12 years before now. But if I'm able to recollect that and say that right now, it's not because I've written it somewhere. It's because it connects and it resonates with that emotion of what it meant. And that's the impact of that ad. It wasn't about particles or chemicals or something specific about a feature about that product. It's about the emotion that it left me with. If you recollect any of your memories of the past, of your childhood, of whatever time frame that you have, you'll recollect, if I ask you to recollect 5 memories, it will all be stories. It will all be stories of emotion of different types, whatever you can resonate or whatever you can connect with. So make sure in your conversations, trigger the emotion of the receiver. And it's going to go far, far deeper and longer than what any other normal conversation would have had. Sri Krishna says that a million about Asian pens is really good. Mazhai in, okay, which means lamination protects from rain. It did connect well. Wonderful. So we're just talking of instances of stories that you can resonate with. So in your conversations, in wherever in the corporate workspace, in your personal space, wherever you're interacting, make sure you are bringing in the emotional aspect for the impact to be deeper. You look at how many of our corporate presentation, if you look at Steve Jobs presenting the next product, he won't be talking about the technical specifications. He'll be talking about how the life of the people will be different with this new iPhone, with this new feature. What is it that is possible because of this new feature? And that leaves a mark. The technical specifications might be just a little different from the previous iPhone, but the story that you tell, the way you impact the emotion, touch the deeper emotions of humans is where you can create a lasting impact. So with that, I come to an end with what I want to share about how to create a lasting emotion. You can look at these 6 elements, the elements being I, idea and impact, not I. M, merging with the audience, getting deeper and personalizing the language with the audience for the audience. Patterns of what is the narrative that you're creating, of what you are creating even without your presence. Actions in sync with what you're saying. Confidence, conviction, and compassion in your conversations, in how you speak. And finally, triggering the emotions or telling a story through which the message can last longer and can go far deeper. That was about making and creating lasting impact with every conversation that you have in any instance, in any place. I'm open for any questions or anything, anyone want to share anything, I'm more than happy to listen. Arjuni ji. Please tell me it wasn't so impactful that you're all silent now, or you're already busy making notes. Yes, Arjuni.
Yes, Miss Harjani, sir.
Harjani, I'm sorry. Yeah. Harjani, go ahead.
It's all okay. Huh? Yes, I completed with the notes, but actually I joined late this session, so I have missed the beginning, the points you explained in the beginning. I got a quick revision by you, so I was looking at that, and it was really
Okay, what you can do is I've shared the WhatsApp group group link over here in the chat. You can join the link, and we have a recording of all the 91 sessions that we have conducted up until now. It's there on our YouTube channel. So we will, as soon as we upload the video of this session on YouTube, we'll be sharing the link of that session in the channel. So you can always at any point in time go back and review your learnings or focus or kind of revise or get back the idea of what we shared over here. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, sure, sir. This is really helpful. This is wonderful session you have conducted. I'm obliged. I really thank you, sir. And I would request to leave now in this session. That surely I'm going to join the WhatsApp because I have to. I have got a session link. Actually, I have to meet on Zoom. It's
Okay,
very important
wonderful.
meeting. We have already organized last week. So
Okay,
I would
thank
like
you.
to get leave. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
For joining us today.
Yeah.
So I hope you have joined the WhatsApp group. Do share the feedback for the session of how or what are your takeaways from the session in that chat. And
Sure,
I'm open for anyone else now to share their feedback.
Sure, sir. Very sure. Thank you, sir.
Rashmi.
Yeah, I have a tremendous impact on me about actually Rahul, Rahul Jain. So whatever session you are conducting till now, it is really deep down. I have impact. That's why I am here. Otherwise, I left the class long back. So that is the sign, and still continue. And you have that power to hold everyone, all types of student gathered together. You have that impact, or you have that aura, or you have that persona. So create.
I would just like to add over here. The biggest difference is not about carrying a persona or having that charisma. If that were the case, we wouldn't be doing the session today. Because there are hardcore solid pointers which we have shared as the word impact, and something that we all can consciously learn and start using and implementing on a daily basis to create an impact. People often think it's those people who are charismatic or who have that natural charm and only they can do it. But if that were the case, I wouldn't be doing that session at all. We have talked of solid pointers.
No, but you have that. Even you are not, that intention is not there, but you have that persona. Forget it,
Thank you.
So, intention is not there, but persona is surely there. So I can share this, So you just point out, and I just totally now shut my.
I'm sorry to break you in between. Thank you for those kind words. Appreciate it. Rashmi, Rabia.
The impact I can say of my life after joining Living Life is that no, this is a fact and truth which I would like to share with. The moments when I was going through on rocks, like I was just going through a shattered phase of my life when I lost my mom and all. At that time when I had a talk with Pragya, and she advised me when everybody was telling me not to cry, not to shed a single tear. But she was the only one who told me, no, Rabia, if you feel like crying, you just do it, burst it out. Go to the washroom if people are seeing you, but just do it. And that made me feel so light, you won't believe. The words itself was like, gave me solace. And after then, whenever I felt like crying, I used to go, and then without anybody's knowledge, I used to cry out and feel myself light and better. That was the best advice and an impact which I had in my life, which I apply most of the situations if I come across. And next one is that it was one of the sessions in which you have suggested to all of us that throughout the day, you will be living a life for others. So by the end of the day, you just stand in front of the mirror, pat yourself, give just 2 to 3 minutes and feel great about yourself. So that energy what we get, that really make us to feel better. We forget the pain and the hard work and the tiredness, tiresome how you feel about that. All things, go in vain, means we feel that it's all vanished. The moment we look up to ourselves and feel that, yes, we are someone, we are doing something for others too, and we have our own life, we have to live for ourselves. So those 3 moments and those words. It really play magic on my life, and I can never forget. That is the lifelong impact which I have in my life, I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Lagya, for sharing that. I think that's where the power of Pragya's presence, even after she is not here in the sessions, and that's the power that it has. Possibly, that's where the center of
We
sharing
see
the idea
Pragya.
was you.
We see Pragya in you only. So when we see you, she is there.
I
When
also say
we
that only. I also say that only every day, night before going to
Rahul
sleep. I
is
say,
Pragya and Pragya is Rahul. It means
मुझे भी वही लगता है. Last में हम दोनों को भाई बहन बनाएंगे लोग. Go ahead. Next, who else would like to share anything else before we close? I think it's already 10:23 now. Yes, Madhu, go ahead. Madhu, you
Actually,
on
one word, I mean, when you talk about the impact, the C word, what you speak reflects, how you think. There is a one sentence. It's extraordinary, many times if, we may observe, but we may forget. I don't know, some of anyone have seen any interviews of Sachin Tendulkar. Whenever he talks about anything, someone is insulted, about suppose, see, if we are talking, that time he said something like that. Even we are explaining that, our expressions, our tone will change. But many times I noticed, even when he speak, even he don't take that much as insult or something. Okay, that is a. So even by listening the people's how they speak, and we can think exactly okay, their nature of thinking like this. That's an extraordinary point. I connected a lot.
Thank you,
for
Madhu.
sharing
Wonderful.
that. Thank you very much for sharing.
Lakshmi, if you're still around without the video, also any thoughts for the session? Yash, Lakshmi Narayana, and I was talking to Lakshmi Rudra.
Rahul, it's an amazing session, and I could your energy levels are top notch, and no wonder you get so much of appreciation from the audience, and it's quite an impactful session. Thank you so much for your amazing tips on communication. I made some notes for myself as well, and thank you. It's not easy to hold our attention for almost like 1 hour. Have
1
you
hour,
been
20
doing
minutes
that?
now.
Yeah, 1 hour, 20 minutes, and I'm still around. So that means it has had some impact on me. Thank you so much, and I'm proud to have known you.
Thank you, Lakshmi Rudra, for that kind words. Please note here, one of the biggest difference of the place and the appreciation that you're looking at is how much so bad your husband is, you'll still appreciate him because you have to survive with him. The fact is, here we are a set of people of the crowd that you see here right now, of the 13 people apart from me. There are at least 10 people who have been here as a part of this journey with us for over, I would say, anywhere between 40 to 91 sessions. So that's how it has been. So the reason why we have built this environment, this entire club's purpose and the way we have built it up is more like a family like. So you'd find constantly each one appreciating each other. So that's our way of uplifting each other once on a Saturday night so that we can survive through the next 1 week in this cruel world. Thank you for those kind words. And
that's lovely. And
I don't take all the applauds too seriously. I just take them
but I also have
seriously
some
though.
kind words good words for your audience. I'm super impressed with their zeal to learn. A big shout out to everyone who took part here. I am amazed. This is a Saturday night. You chose to spend 1 hour, 20 minutes listening to Rahul and also sharing your stories. They are quite impressive. And good luck to everyone. I hope you all progress in the journeys that you have set for yourself.
Thank you, and hope to see you also as a part of this family and see you more often. I understand the work pressures and different responsibilities keep you busy, but still, if you can take out time, it'll be great to have you also part of the family. Thank you for that. Akanksha, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. First thing, I was a little.
Go ahead.
I was a little distracted today in today's session because of the exams and texts coming in. So I missed a little part of the session, but I know I can always go back to the recordings. So I did hear all your stories, Madhu sir's, Mohsin sir's. I think though he's not there, he did have an impact, I must say. Rashmi ma'ams, and then the teachers, Rabia ma'am and Shaheen ma'am. All of y'all did have an impact. And Rahul sir, obviously, I wouldn't be here for 90 plus sessions if there was no impact, because there are so many other things I can do. Watch a movie on a Saturday night, watch some random show. I could do so many things, but I chose to do this. It is because of the impact that you have on all of us. All of us right here are because of the impact that you have on all our lives, all our perspectives. We are a collective group. All of us together have this impact on each other. And I think the entire credits go to you, sir, because you have created this platform. You have created this. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Akanksha. Like I
And
always say,
Akansha, just a
बस ये आ गई अभी चालू. अब ये दोनों ठीक है, रिकॉर्डिंग रोकने दो, फिर बात कर लेना तुम दोनों अपना अपना. तुम दोनों के लिए रूम छोड़ के मैं चला जाऊंगा, सब लोग चले जाएंगे बातें करते रहे. Thank you. I think we are at 10:28 now. Anyone else would like to share anything before we close the session? Pratna ma'am, Lakshmi, Narayana, Sri Krishna, anyone before we close? Okay, I think.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello,
ma'am.
Rahul.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to appreciate you for the spirit. It is very difficult to maintain the spirit element. See, there are multiple factors would work on our style of work, because if we have conducive environment, motivating audience, and everything is set, only then we would be giving our best. But I have seen that consistency that caught my attention. I really appreciate the perseverance which you are maintaining and your dedication and commitment towards your job. You are not taking it as a job. I know you are very passionate about it, but you are enlightening the lives of many people over here. I could make out you are boosting their morale and listening to them patiently, and you are doing a good service. I'm really impressed the way you are maintaining the consistency part, because even if I am trying to attend, I am unable to attend because of my commitments. Then again, I wonder, at this age, I am unable to attend, and such a young boy, and leaving everything aside, and he is making an effort. This is really commendable. Thank you so much what you are doing.
Thank you, Pratna ma'am. Like I always said, I believe in yesterday's Insta live session also someone asked about the same question. How do you build that discipline? I believe the answer to that is simple. Find your why and add value. Making sure that you are adding value and you are connected with why you are doing it should be the biggest motivator for you to keep delivering day in and day out. That's been my inspiration from the day I started Speak Up Club way back 92 Saturday nights back, and even up until now. I had this thought today because I'm traveling to Manali on Monday and not here for the next 5 days. I thought the 100th session will be coming up around 30th of April. If I want to collaborate that with 23rd May, why not skip 3 Saturdays in between somewhere, somehow, and then think of collaborating the 23rd May or whatever date is closer by, and having the 100th Saturday night also around that time will be a good thing. But then I thought, today it's 5th of March. So in effect, it means we have had 52 consecutive Saturday nights without a break now. That's the streak that we have had. The last break that we had was when we lost our grandfather in 20th of Feb, and we had that break for 2 Saturday nights after that because of my travel for different rituals. So in effect, if you are today at 5th of March, it's first year's anniversary of having a Saturday night without a break single time for the entire year. So that's something that makes me feel proud for how long we have come. And I would again mention that each one of y'all is what makes me go deeper and continue this journey that we have begun. Because somewhere I feel if the Saturday night 9 p.m. doesn't happen, I'm missing out on something, not for what I'm sharing, but more importantly, listening to the stories that I get to hear and different perspectives that we get to hear. That's the beauty of this space that I have truly cherished over the last 2 years and has transformed who I am as an individual and the value that each one of you all have added to me. With that, it's 10:32 and time to close the session, and we'll stay back after the closing of the session. Saturday nights have never been this beautiful for the last 92 Saturday nights now. It's been an honor to be sharing this space with you, listening to your perspectives, sharing our perspectives, and gaining new perspectives. Thank you for the love that you keep coming back every Saturday night and adding life to our life. And to every member of the Speak Up Club. See you all next Saturday, 9 p.m. again. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.